Hey everyone, I am JC. I cover Mid-South for Rhino. Just wanted to thank you guys for joining us before the long weekend. I hope you all have fun plans for the 4th. I see some familiar names on my screen and some new faces, so just wanted to welcome everybody. We have panelists from Cisco and Rhino to cover some great info on Cisco Meraki and Cisco Secure Access. So stick around at the end for some Q&A with our engineers and info on how to be in $300 worth of Yeti gear. Exciting stuff. We will be monitoring the chat, so feel free to throw questions in as needed. We will answer some as they come and some at the very end. We have some great deals running through the end of Cisco's fiscal year. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Bryant to kick us off.
How you guys doing? I am, excuse me, Bryant Cross. I'm an account executive. I cover small businesses in the states of Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia. And for a long time, when we talked about security, it started with, what we could see. We're talking doors, locks, badges, cameras, who's coming into the building, who has access to the building, who's supposed to be there. That physical layer still matters. Every business still has people, still have buildings, assets, and operations they need to protect. But over time, security has expanded. Now it's not just about who gets into the building, it is about who gets onto the network, who can access the applications, where is the data going, how many users are connecting, or where are they connecting from? Is it from home? Is it from the cloud? And everywhere in between. Are they on Gilligan's Island? I like to think of it as like the club. So the firewall is your bouncer at the door. It checks who gets in, who has the right credentials, who's supposed to be in there. But modern security has to answer the harder question. Once they're inside, who's watching where they go, what drinks they're ordering, what they touch, who they talk to? This is where security is headed. Customers need visibility beyond the front door. They need to understand what is happening across users, devices, the applications, traffic, data. And now with AI, that gets even more important. Next slide, please. It's not just about people and devices anymore. Customers are starting to deal with digital identities, automated workflows, AI tools, and agents running around crazy on the internet. I saw this that I wanted to include is 45 to 1 different digital identities to every one real person now. And these agents can move fast. They can request access, trigger workflows, touch systems, and act on behalf of you, me, or whatever user there is. So the next question becomes, who is watching these agents once they are inside? That's why the One Cisco story matters and why we matter. Cisco has always been strong on the ground game. As we said, the physical layer, the campus, the branch, wireless, switching, firewalls, things you could touch. Then Cisco expanded with Meraki to protection in the cloud with secure access. You got SD-WAN, SaaS. We got Splunk in the building. We have cloud delivered security. So now, as these AI workflows become part of the business, Cisco is positioned to help customers protect not only where you work, but how the work actually happens. So like I mentioned, we protect you on the ground. Now with Meraki, we're in the cloud. Together, we're into into the entire network, into the AI-driven network workflows as well. And so this is the perfect place. I'm going to hand it to Clint to kind of bring it back to square one into the physical layer and the physical environment where security became real for most customers.
Hey, thank you, Bryant. And thank you all for being with us today. So my name is Clint Pfeiffer, as Bryant just mentioned, and I'm also a Cisco account executive covering small and medium business, except for I'm covering Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. Today, I'm going to discuss how Meraki is redefining physical security. Slide, please. At the end of the day, your security infrastructure is your first line of defense. Whether you're protecting your employees, your physical facilities, or your high-value assets, you need a system that is dynamic, that is as dynamic as the threats you face. As Bryant mentioned, you have all these different IDs coming in, but when it comes to people, there's even more people roaming around your facilities, and you want to know what's going on. Slide. The industry is at a turning point. Recent data shows that 49% of organizations are still relying on 100% on-premises systems, which requires creates massive operational silos. Furthermore, 73% of decision makers tell us that their top priority is simply having a fast, easy process for adding cameras. If your current system is outdated, you aren't just losing efficiency, you're losing visibility. Slide. What does a modern system look like? It's defined by 4 pillars. You want less complexity, moving away from heavy, traditional moving parts. You want data privacy, built-in encryption, and role-based access control. You need fast incident management, the ability to find what you need in seconds, not hours. And then you need to make data-driven decisions, using the footage to gain operational insights, not just surveillance. Slide. If you already like how easy it is to manage switching, wireless, and SD-WAN in the Meraki dashboard, the camera experience will feel very similar. The big idea is Meraki cameras are not a separate physical security silo. They're part of a modern cloud-managed platform that simplifies deployment, access, investigations, and ongoing operations. Slide. Traditional systems are plagued by NBRs, DMS servers, and complex cabling. Multiple points of failure causing troubleshooting to be a nightmare. It just takes time. It takes time away from your employees where they could be doing something else. Cisco wants to change that. Slide. Meraki changes the game. We've removed the complexity. No more NBRs, no VMS, just one unified cloud-based platform that doesn't choke your bandwidth. It's plug-and-play security that scales with your business. Slide. When an incident occurs, time is your most valuable asset. We've streamlined the investigation process in 3 simple steps. Quick walls. Create custom video walls on the fly to monitor specific areas. You can have people at the front desk and they have a video wall set up and they can see just the entrances and exits. You can have people in your IT staff that have cameras that are up and they're just showing your IT assets, whatever they need access to. We also have attribute search. Instead of scrubbing hours of footage, search by descriptions like person in a green top, blue car, and then you have cross-camera tracking. Once you find that person through attribute search, you can cross them across multiple cameras. You can track their movements through your facility. And we're not relying on facial recognition. So therefore, we're maintaining some sense of privacy. Slide, please. We've tailored the user experience to the role. The Meraki dashboard is for your IT and operations teams to manage the infrastructure and gather business insights. Slide, please. However, the Vision portal is for your security team, providing a dedicated, intuitive interface for solving investigations quickly, whether at your desk or on the go. That helps admins and operators. Not every user who needs access to video should have a full dashboard access. Maybe they should just have access to the Vision portal, whether it's just live feeds, past recordings, or both. Slide, please. Finally, we have a solution for every environment. Let's look at some of the options. Whether you need a fixed lens camera for a small office, a fisheye for wide coverage, or a high performance MV53X or MV63 series for specialized areas, the Meraki portfolio is designed to be versatile and reliable. Please consider Meraki cameras for your physical security needs. Reach out to JC or anyone on this panel, and we can set up a demo that's in line with what your production and requirements would require. Now I'm going to pass this over to Emma and our cloud security team to talk to you more about your cybersecurity needs.
Hey everyone, thanks Clint. My name's Emma Berger. I'm on the Cisco side and I support small businesses, specifically security focused in Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. So let's jump right into talking about the distributed edge. Currently, we all have the ability to work anywhere, connecting to apps that are also located all over the place, in public or private clouds. Our IT teams struggle with fragmented security and network management tools, which ends up putting user experience and application availability at risk, rather than making our connectivity more secure and more reliable. Next slide, please. And underneath all of that is your WAN, which is the backbone of your business. It must do far more than simply connect sites and users. It needs to adapt in real time intelligently steer traffic based on application and user context, and enforce security policies consistently wherever your users and applications reside. With workers working from anywhere, accessing apps everywhere, security gaps need to be addressed to overcome the challenges of inconsistent user experience and downtime risk. This is best done with a unified platform approach where you can fuse security directly into the network. In the good old days, it was much simpler connecting a set of employees to a set of internal private applications. But in the distributed world we just described, it's a lot more complicated. There are much more and larger set of both managed and unmanaged devices, multiple types of people, so your users from employees to contractors, third parties, partners, and so on, and a growing variety of things in relation to IoT and OT, and a new and emerging set of AI agents. All of these need to be supported across the full spectrum of locations, from your branch sites, airplanes, airports, oil rigs, and maybe even a fleet of boats. Each of these starting points need to be efficiently and securely connected to an expanded set of destinations. The internet, private applications that are ZTNA compatible, traditional private applications that aren't ZTNA compatible, and SaaS and AI applications. The typical organization has been implementing a variety of separate networking and security tools and capabilities to try and address these evolving challenges. It's become increasingly apparent that a more centralized approach is required and that networking and security functions need to be converged to provide more efficient and consistent user experience that is easier to manage and also more secure. So I'll pass it over to Zoraida to talk about our solution for that, secure access.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Emma. Happy to be here. My name's Zoraida, and I'm the AE supporting Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama. So I'll hop right in. Some of you may be familiar with our DNS layered security tool Umbrella, or formerly Open DNS. I'm going to share a little bit about the evolution of Umbrella and what is offered today. And by no means is Umbrella going away, but Cisco Secure Access is the new gold standard. So Secure Access Service Edge, SASE, is how the market speaks to the concept of a converged set of networking, SD-WAN, and security capabilities. Secure Service Edge, SSE, is a security portion of this architecture. And as you start adopting an SSE architecture, your existing Catalyst SD-WAN environment helps to accelerate the evolution toward SASE. And that tight integration that Cisco offers for SD-WAN with secure access accelerates your full move to SASE. And for many, the first step is to provide better protection across the new distributed IT environment with a combined set of cloud-native security services that are both more efficient and more effective. Next slide, please. And here we're going to highlight sort of the key value drivers, including a unified management that is in a centralized console, improving the performance of technology of the tools that are working together, and lastly, delivering consistent security while reducing that complexity. And on the next slide, at a very high level, and Mike will go into a quick demo, the four core components of SSE are ZTNA, Secure Web Gateway, a CASB, and Firewall as a Service. Like I said, we'll go under the hood a little later. Next slide. So Cisco Secure Access modernizes your security defenses, effectively securing access in complex and our hybrid work environment we see today. So on the left, users are working from everywhere, with remote and hybrid workers being the majority, and IoT devices are becoming ubiquitous too. And on the right, cloud adoption is nothing new. Perfect, thank you. Is nothing new, but it's only accelerating with the use of internet and public SaaS apps skyrocketing. And of course, the threat and attack tactics continue to multiply and grow in sophistication. So it's even more important to have the ability to have users and things everywhere and all and all accessing resources anywhere have brought enormous value. However, they've also brought some challenges as well, including a new level of complexity and, of course, extending the attack surface and opening gaps in traditional security models. So organizations we're hearing that are struggling to secure users and resources in this newly expanded landscape, and attackers are taking advantage of this opportunity. So Cisco is breaking the traditional pattern that better security means more hassles and tasks for users and IT. And really, we're doing this by Secure Access delivering a high level of security from a single cloud delivered service that makes our users and IT teams more efficient and effective. Now, with this model, you can get from anywhere to anything with a high level of security and reduced friction. So, next slide, please. So Cisco has been merging all of these security functions into a single cloud delivered dashboard for the last 10 years. And Cisco Secure Access solution represents a whole new level of convergence that magnifies this experience, the cost and security benefit as well, all from an aggregated cloud native service. And as I mentioned before, it includes a strong set of core SSE components such as CASB, ZTNA, Firewall as a Service, and DLP, but really goes beyond protection and ease of use for all of this. And I did want to highlight one key feature on the next slide that Secure Access offers, and this is multi-mode data loss prevention, providing visibility and control over sensitive data, leaving your organization using real-time data analysis, SaaS API functionality for analysis of data at the rest of the cloud, and unifies policy and reporting for effective admin and, of course, regulatory compliance. And we're seeing an uptick in DLP being required for liability insurance as well. So one thing to point out, and I'd say this has become a huge request for my customers and really starts those conversations, is just getting the visibility and control over AI use. And I'll pass it right back to Emma.
Awesome. Thank you. One call out I do want to make is first, if you're a government contractor, Secure Access is FedRAMP. So if you have to meet CMMC compliance, Secure Access can fit that bill. Additionally, I do want to call out, I'm going to be talking about how Secure Access interacts specifically with Meraki, but it does also natively integrate with Cisco Firepowers, and even more so, it is vendor agnostic. But specifically, I'll be focusing on the integration with Meraki. So the slide here kind of says it all. If you are currently using Meraki, you've got a fast lane to SASE. So you've got your SD-WAN and then a resilient SASE architecture when you add in Secure Access. So we can just pop over to the next slide to talk about some of the benefits. So really, Cisco SASE with Meraki is simple solution that provides secure access from your hybrid workforce to private applications, SaaS apps, and the internet. Can do this through auto VPN simplicity. It's really straightforward cloud delivered approach with industry leading automation. So you've got that global interconnect, and then it's a really efficient and resilient in securing traffic routing through high availability and resistance. So I'll pop over to the next slide just to get into the weeds a little bit more. So Meraki SD-WAN integrates with Cisco Secure Access or Cisco Secure Service Edge, SSE, it's our Secure Access. All these acronyms get a little bit of a tongue twister. Using auto VPN tunnels for simple global connectivity across all Meraki branches and remote users. Hybrid spokes are Meraki spokes that maintain SD-WAN connections with hubs and enable secure internet access. Cloud spokes use the cloud path for both secure internet access and secure private access. Those are kind of the two pillars of secure access. They connect to applications behind Meraki hubs and other cloud or hybrid spokes. Meraki hubs can also enroll in secure access and allow connectivity to its application from secure access. So I'll leave you with this before I pass over to Mike on the next slide. Just pop to the next slide, please. So just to leave you with this integration is fast, simple, and resilient. From simplified onboarding, automated failover, and advanced security and AI controls, in addition to end-to-end visibility with faster troubleshooting, this can really provide you that full stack SASE solution with an easy integration with Meraki. And again, there's other added features with firepowers, and again, plays nice with all vendors. So I'll pass it over to Mike, who can take us a little bit more under the hood and show us what that dashboard looks like.
Thanks so much, Emma. So a question for everybody to think about, you've got your Meraki Auto VPN or, your Cisco firewall set up or just any environment. You're looking for a way, you've got this connectivity. We need a way to secure it. We need an easy button, and we've got roaming users and we've got all these physical locations as well. Secure access, think of it as like that layer of security on top of whatever connectivity you have today. So I'm going to show you a real demo right here of my own personal tenant that I set up and use every day. This is Secure Access. And I'm going to start off with what Zoraida mentioned, which was that data loss prevention. Like a lot of customers they're really looking for a way to secure data as it leaves the environment or gets passed between, one user to another. One of the slides you saw was called multi-mode DLP. And you can kind of see why it's called multi-mode. Well, there's several flexible ways you can define your data loss policy. I've got my real-time rule. This is a basic rule that I use to check webmail, Gmail, looking for credit card numbers as they leave the environment, phone numbers, any type of sensitive data. Got the capability to do data at rest. So most of you probably have a Microsoft 365 environment. Challenge I would give you is, since that data is not really moving, we call that data at rest. You have a way to scan that OneDrive or that SharePoint account to see if there's violations of sensitive data there. That's kind of a ticking time bomb if you have some sensitive file that's publicly available or externally available. So having a way to scan that. Another real-time rule for endpoint DLP. Think of a user who you're concerned with them maybe transferring data to a USB drive or a Bluetooth connection to their buddy's phone or an AirDrop to my iPhone, or even just people forget about the old school printing. Can they just print this file and just take it wherever they want? Endpoint DLP is included. Even when the user is completely disconnected from the internet, that policy applies. Generative AI guardrails, one of everybody's favorites. How do I tackle the question of everybody in my environment? They all say they need ChatGPT, but man, what do I do when I'm tasked with securing this environment? Okay, I'm going to show you the easy button for that. And the final one at the bottom, identity has just recently overpassed email as the number one way most people get impacted in an organization. So email's really close there. So we want to have a grip on email. So in this case, I've got a rule for all users and all recipients. But the one everybody really wants to start with is tackling that generative AI problem. Like, my boss once says people are more effective and more productive when they use AI, but I'm really worried about our organization getting hacked. So let's take a look at this AI guardrails rule, and we can see how simple Cisco has made this. I'm giving the rule a name, and these are pre-built. I'm literally clicking 3 checkboxes, and I now have a way to allow people to use generative AI, but they're going to have to align with our company's compliance standards for things like HIPAA violations. That's, of course, the privacy, sensitive data. Safety would be, doing something risky. And then security, that's really aligned to people manipulating the AI. You hear about that one a lot on the news, like people using AI in a way that the AI wasn't designed to do that, but they're trying to skate around that. So these 3 little buttons are going to let you tackle that problem. This is just a small portion of what Secure Access can do. Segmentation is a big thing. I've got my Meraki Auto VPN, and I've got users connecting that are hybrid. Some are in office. Others aren't even really users. They're like bots and machines and IoT stuff. How do I do very easy segmentation? Let's jump over to the access policy and see just what I've built out here. This is as easy as it can get. Cisco's gone towards what we call intent-based policy. So gone are the old days of figuring out everyone's IP addresses and which firewall do I need to make this rule on. Very simple here. I've got these 9 rules that are allowing, blocking. I could warn, I could do what's called remote browser isolation with this product. And you can see that I'm just choosing a source like a user or an Active Directory group. It might be a Meraki location. The source could be quote unquote all roaming users. And my destination, the top rule, I'm restricting which generative AI people can use. You know, if we have a standard that says you got to use ChatGPT and Gemini, it's very easy for me to put a rule like that in here. One thing that's very cool here is notice there's internet rules, but there's also private rules. So in this same window, I'm also giving my users zero trust access to think of private applications that live like at the headquarters, you know, an RDP server, an internal file share web portal. So all of this is done in Secure Access. The users themselves can come from whatever identity provider you have. So in my environment here, I'm pulling users in from Entra ID and also from Duo. I can see my users here, my groups, and that lets me make policy and lets me do that segmentation. A modern solution is also looking at like anomalous behavior, and not just who the user is when they come onto the network, but what are they doing? Continuous verification, a fundamental part of zero trust. You can see that built right in here too. Impossible travel. How is it that this user is connecting from California and North Carolina at the same time? How about spikes and how many files are being uploaded or downloaded? And then just people that are communicating with high-risk countries for like uploading or downloading files. Those are all anomalous things that we want to evaluate more than just who the user is, but what is the user? How are they behaving? The final thing I'll leave you with this product is think back, and if you've ever heard of Thousand Eyes, Cisco Thousand Eyes. Thousand Eyes is included here. And Thousand Eyes was originally used by internet service providers. And if you've ever called, like we all have, and you're like, my internet feels slow, what's going on? Some person on the other line, on the phone has some magic way to figure out where in the network that issue was. Well, they're very likely using Thousand Eyes to do that. Now, think of a Meraki environment or any VPN. We'd love to have that same experience for our users. So before or during or after a user has an issue, we can say, I can see where that problem was. And let's take a look at a real computer I have in lab here. So I'm going to click on endpoints. You can see these devices I have here. There's a user. This is their username. They're online. They're connecting on this PC from Virginia. And if I click on this user's name, I can see that magic. So I'm going to scroll down here. I see these green little check marks showing me all the parts of all the hops that are good. And I can also see there's one at the end that kind of looks unhealthy. So if I click on these, they're interactable. So I can see that this user has this IP. They have very healthy CPU and memory usage. Not a problem on their computer. How about their local area network? This looks great. They've got a very high-powered wired connection. I'll tell you, this one alone solves a lot of headache here, because a lot of times it's just something like a poor Wi-Fi signal at home or at the coffee shop. This will tell you. The gateway, so this is the user's home router, you know, whatever that may be, if there's latency there. Of course, the internet. And then in this particular example, this user I can see is an application issue. It's not an issue with the user's device or the network or the internet. It's actually something on the application side, in this case with SharePoint. So all in all, to summarize Secure Access, think of it as a way to add simplistic security controls to any environment, whether it be a Meraki Auto VPN, any type of Cisco implementation, or even any third-party environment for users who are in office and remote. Now, the final thing I'm going to show real quick, and this is for you Meraki people out there that are like, man, I've got that Meraki environment. I love that. I'm familiar with the Meraki dashboard. Well, you can see I'm in the Meraki dashboard on the left. If Meraki has been missing the component until recently about doing NAC, Network Access Control. So I'm a user and I come onto a Meraki environment. And now your Meraki environment has a cloud native tool called Meraki Access Manager. So this is a completely cloud delivered offering in your Meraki dashboard. And it is going to let you decide which users and devices should be allowed onto your network. Okay, so it integrates with Entra ID. It's going to prompt the user. One of the most common implementations is just challenging the user for their Entra credentials. Okay, are you a user who's allowed to be here? You came down the hallway and plugged into a Meraki switch on the wall. Are you connected to a Meraki access point? Are you allowed to be here? And once you are, how much access should you have? Which VLAN should you be in? Which access list do I want to define to you? And really, the only screen I'm going to show you from here is one of simplicity. We can see in the Y column, I've got source users and devices. And on the X up top, this X axis, I've got destinations. So very easy to see that when employees who are in the engineering group are communicating with other employees in the same engineering group, access is allowed. But I can see that I have capabilities further allowing those engineers access to other employees who are solutions engineers at the company. But notice that the employee group, the same user, we actually have a deny rule allowing them to communicate with IoT devices. So this is just the easiest way in the world to use the Meraki environment that you already have to finally do network access control. And it's available for you Meraki users today. Just let us know and we can get them enabled in like a trial or, happily put you on your way for simplistic network access control. If you've heard of Cisco ICE, think of the easier version of ICE, and that's what this is. So that's all I have, and I will turn it back to the team.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. There's one more thing I just wanted to go over with y'all before we jump into any other questions you guys have. Just wanted to run through some of the end of year deals. It's the best time of year to upgrade any of your devices. We've got a lot of promotions running for end of support devices. A lot of the people that have worked with me before were primarily a Meraki shop. We do cover Cisco security. That's why I wanted to jump on here and have Mike and Emma and Zoraida go over that with us because we are looking to set up our customers with those tools. It really does make your network more robust and your security more robust. So let's go into a little bit more here. As we know, it's always been a bundle and save. It's even more attractive right now. Through, I believe, July 24th, we have these deals available. You can mix and match Meraki and security. 2 products up to 10%, 3 products 13%, and so on and so forth. We've got a couple different deals that are going to be relevant to a lot of my customers that I see on this webinar today. We have the wireless refresh. I have quite a few customers that have end of support wireless that they're looking to future proof with Wi-Fi 6E and Wi-Fi 7. So that is something that we can talk about. We have SMB and mid-market, which I believe is most of my customers on this webinar. So that will apply to you as well. And Meraki MX, we have quite a few customers looking to upgrade those as well. 5 years for the price of 3. So historically, it's been 3 years. That's been the sweet spot, but 5 years will get you additional discounts. So that's worth looking at. We've got free trials, as always. If you're not quite sure if it's going to work in your environment, that's what that's for. So feel free to reach out to me. We can talk through that, scope it out to the best of our abilities, and then get you set up with the trial. We've got the MX and Cisco XDR bundle and the Launchpad offer. That's where we're going to get into the security portion of things. You can bundle this with the 1 year free when you migrate from Umbrella to Secure Access. So if you're looking to get into the future of this, that is where we're going to jump in here. Up to 10% off list price on security suites for new customers. For example, that's going to be a bundle of different security options. You've got Secure Access, DoAdvantage, email threat defense, and secure endpoint. There is a lower tier to that, but I really want to show you the full scope of what you can get. And then from there, it's going to be just let's talk. Let's see what projects you have, even if it's in the future. We can take into account lead times because I know that's top priority for a lot of customers right now. And we can leverage these discounts so we don't have to sit into those price increases that we've been seeing on a monthly basis. So feel free to talk to me. And for those who get a quote with us before the 15th, we're going to raffle y'all off for $300 worth of Yeti gear. So that's super exciting. Even if I am not the one to cover you, I know I have some in the Mid-South and some that have worked with others at Rhino. Please feel free to get with me and I'll get you with the right contact. If you've worked with them before, just reach out, let them know that you attended the webinar, and we'll get you entered into this raffle. But after this, I just wanted to open up to any questions. We have our lovely engineers on the phone to for you guys to pick their brains. So feel free to throw it in the chat and we will answer any questions you have. I'm going to go in and see if we have any that have been unanswered. Okay, perfect. Looks like we've got it all covered. So I just want to thank you all again for joining me. Thank you to my panelists for joining me in on this. And I hope to speak to you all real soon. Have a great day and a happy 4th.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.